Shakir Mukhamadullin makes his debut. William Eklund has 2 points, and the Sharks lose. Plus, I check in on the Barracuda where Thomas Bordeleau returns, but Danil Gushchin is knocked out. So all that and more on today's episode.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, contributor at San Jose Hockey Now, and I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly part of the Locked On Network, we cover your team every day. And if you want to be an everyday, all you have to do is just follow wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch this on YouTube as well. And we're going to be catching up on all that was in Sharks hockey this weekend. We're going to talk about the Sharks 5-2 loss to the Buffalo Sabres, and then checking on the Barracuda as they split their weekend series against the Calgary Wranglers. I know this is the biggest news event to come out of, at least sporting event to come out of the Bay Area this weekend. Congrats to the Niners as they're heading to the Super Bowl again. This time, we got to do it, Niners. We got to do it this time, Niners. So make sure you guys are checking out Locked On Niners if you have not. But you're here to talk about the tank. We're going to be talking about the tank and where the Sharks currently set out and all the young kids, because that's what we care about is how do the young kids look. So before we do all that, do want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you guys by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets if your best bet of $5 or more wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. So the Sharks lose 5-2 to the Buffalo Sabres on Saturday. I went to this game, brought my boys, had a blast. Love a nice 1:00 afternoon game because one, I don't get home at like 1:30 in the morning, and two, just kind of a nice day. The boys and I had a good time. It was Pride Day, excellent all around. Sharks, they kill it when it comes to the kind of the Pride celebration. Really fun time. My boys had a blast. The bucket hats are great. But Sharks lose 5-2. Shakir Mukhamadullin makes his debut. And Eklund had 2 points. I think those are the big things we're taking out of this game. Because again, I believe the children are our future. Let's start with Mukhamadullin and his first game. I thought he looked pretty good overall. You can see he's continued to work on, just kind of his situational awareness. I don't want to say hockey IQ, but I think for him, it's just the reps, right? The rep continuing to play more and more. And you're seeing that time in the AHL has really paid off for him. He had 3 shots on goal this game, and you could see what he did in the offense. And I thought in the offense, he was actually, it felt like he was a little rushed. And I think, again, a lot of nerves playing in your first NHL game. I totally get that. I think it needs to show a little bit more patience, but you have to feel pretty good about the way he played in this game. And it was nice to see David Quinn kind of not afraid. I really like David Quinn putting him out there to start the game just to kind of get it out of the way, right? And that way he's not kind of sitting there and waiting and, on the bench and stuff. And I liked that he put him out there right away. Let's get this over with. And I think Mukhamadullin, I would assume he probably appreciated that. It's let's just get this over with and get that out there. And, he said after the game where he felt there were, the speed between the AHL and the NHL isn't too much different. It's just the skill, right? And the guys in the NHL are just much more tactical. They're able to use that kind of space and timing much better. But the game didn't look too big for him, and that's a very talented Sabres forward group. And I thought Mukhamadullin handled himself pretty well in this game. And I assume he'll probably be up until the All-Star break, will be my guess. And then when Henry Thrun comes back, I assume they'll probably send him back down at least until the trade deadline. But this kind of gives him a nice little taste of here's the NHL. We'll send you back for another month. Okay. Now you know exactly what you're facing here coming up, and then that way after the trade deadline, we want you up here full time for the last month and a half. That way you can kind of continue to get ready, and then next year you're a full time NHL player. I assume that's what's probably going to be the run, but you think as Sharks fans, we have to feel pretty positive about like Mukhamadullin looks like he's going to be something for the Sharks, and whether that's a really good two defenseman or running your second power play or whatever. It looks like Mukhamadullin is going to be something for the Sharks, and they need to try to win as many of these, all on these kind of bets. They need to win some of these to really kind of feel good about their future. But and then our boy Slippery Pete, William Eklund, had 2 assists, both 5v5. And I thought you're seeing Eklund since, again, Quinn, another nice. I think the moving Eklund down to the third line has been really smart. And it's given Eklund a chance to, I'd say, breathe, but you're kind of facing a little bit lesser competition, right? And then you're kind of you're not facing the top competition, and I think Eklund has responded well to this. And the nice thing about Quinn is if Eklund's having a good game like he did on Saturday, he moves him up, right? By the end of the game, he's playing with Couture and Barabanov. Like that's what you want to see, right? Is putting your young players in a position to succeed. And I think this is something that Quinn, I think, has really learned from his time with the Rangers. And yes, this is a much different team. That Rangers team, I think, had a lot more stars, and those players, were much younger that he was kind of dealing with. But I think it's good to see a guy like Eklund, kind of take the challenge of kind of being on the third line, but then also responding well with it. And then David Quinn, whenever he does, see Eklund's having a good game, he rewards him for that. And I think it'll be interesting to see as this team kind of gets decimated by the trade deadline, where Eklund kind of finishes this season here. But I'm again, Quinn's been kind of smart. I think this is a big kind of learning moment for Quinn, especially with kind of handling these young players. And you even look at a guy like Henry Thrun, who I know is out right now, but sending him down to the AHL. He said that he spent a lot of time with Radim Šimić, right? Radim Šimić, who's been through a lot. It was once considered like the future or one of the future pieces of the Sharks defensive core. Has battled injuries, has kind of been in and out of the lineup. He's been through coaching staffs where he kind of lost trust in them. Like there's a lot you can learn from a guy like Radim Šimić. And I think kind of having a guy like Thrun learn from that, go play in the AHL, get used to playing in the NA, kind of up with this speed, and then come back. And Thrun's been really, really great since he's come back from the Barracuda. And I think, as much as I've given Quinn a lot of issues with his decision making and and kind of his lineups and stuff like that, I think with the way he's handled the young players has really kind of improved, especially even since last year, and especially since his time with the Rangers. And I think he's putting some of these young guys in a position to succeed. So going forward, we'll continue to see it as the team is soon going to be probably like I said, decimated by the trade deadline, hopefully, right? At least sending out some of their veteran guys to get back more draft picks / prospects. But, I think if Eklund, right, this is a kind of, I know it's not technically his rookie year, but if Eklund can continue to grow, next year he's going to come in, be like an established top 6 guy. You think the roster is going to improve depending on free agency, winning the draft lottery, young players continuing to kind of grow and develop. Like Eklund's kind of that first piece, and I think you're seeing the development in his growth. And again, 2 points, very nice assists to defenseman Vlasic and Ruda. If you're getting Vlasic and Ruda scoring opportunities, you got to be doing something right. So the perfect Sharks game Shakir Mukhamadullin looks good. William Eklund looks good, and the Sharks lose 5-2. So yeah, that's like the perfect Sharks game right there. That's the formula right now. So we're gonna dig into the numbers of this game, kind of look at which players stood out, which players, which lines kind of struggled. So we'll dig into all that here in just 1 second. Drive, passion, and patience must bring home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors is everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. There are 122 million parts for your number one ride or die. You'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay Guarantee Fit only available to U.S. customers. All right, so let's dig into the numbers behind this game. And kind of a very interesting game. I felt like even though the Sharks scored the 2 early goals, it kind of felt like the Sabres were in control of the first period. And then even though the Sabres scored like the next 3, the Sharks were kind of in control and kind of owning, more shots, et cetera, just not able to take advantage of that and kind of giving up opportunities that the Sabres took advantage of. Then it was pretty even, I think, for the most part between the two. I think the Sabres also were able to kind of sit in the lead a little bit and squash any of the Sharks' hope there. But at 50 minutes of 5v5 time in this game, shot attempts were 60 to 58 in favor of the Sharks. Corsi for 50.85 to 49.15 in favor of the Sharks. Shots for actual shots on goal, 30 to 22. So the Sabres did a really good job of kind of limiting actual shots on goal. They were giving up shot attempts, but they weren't letting those shots get on goal. Scoring chances, 23 to 28 in favor of the Sabres, and then 8 to 13 high danger chances. 3.13 to 1.78 expected goals for in favor of the Sabres. So that kind of goes back to that. The Sabres were kind of giving up a little bit more shot attempts, but they were really getting quality over quantity compared to the Sharks. And, looking at like the shot map, it was very much like right in front of Capo Kakinen's grill there. Like he had to make a lot of big time saves in this game, and we'll dig into his numbers a little bit here later. But the Sharks were kind of pushed out a little bit more to the perimeter, while the Sabres were really kind of able to drive home. And you saw a lot of kind of forwards just kind of coming into the paint and doing what they wanted to do in this game. That's something the Sharks are really going to continue to clean up. I know they have a lot of moving pieces in the defense, but as for the forward line, so they're going to be a little bit funky this game because Thomas Bordeleau did leave for the entire second period, did come back in the third period, which is good. So the numbers are a little bit funky when it comes to that as they're trying to adjust without Hertl in the lineup. But so you had Zetterlund, Hertl, Hoffman, Barabanov, Couture, Duclair, Eklund, Sturm, Cunnin, and the Zadina, Carpenter, Bailey. Bailey also got benched for basically the entire second period. So you were down 2 forwards for the most part of the second period between a benching and then between Hertl's injury. But the Hertl line played 10-55, 13 to 14 shot attempts. Actual shots was 7 to 5 in favor of that line. 0.51 to 0.46 expected goals for, 5 to 5 scoring chances, 2 to 1 high danger chances. So pretty solid line, especially again with how good this how talented this Buffalo forward group is. They kind of did a fair job of kind of keeping up with them. The Barabanov Couture Duclair line played 957, 11 to 14 shot attempts, 2 to 8 actual shots. Did give up a goal, 0.16 to 0.71. Expected goals 4, 2 to 6 scoring chances, and 1 to 3 high danger chances, with 6-3-5 zone starts. And I'm curious with Couture, right? I think the first kind of game was a lot of adrenaline. Your first game back. I'm curious to see now that he's, a couple games in, how he settles in here. And, I think a lot of times too, when coming off injuries, where it takes, 10 games or so to really kind of maybe feel like yourself again. Look at Barabanov, right? Came back from his injury. Yeah, he might have scored that first game back, but it wasn't, until a couple weeks later where it's like, oh yeah, there's the Barabanov we know and love. And I think Barabanov's really kind of turned his game around the past couple weeks. But you wonder with with Couture, maybe he might also kind of luck out here a little bit with the All-Star break, and then everyone's going to kind of be back at the same level coming out of it. So just curious to see Couture, especially these back-to-back games, how he continues to kind of go from here. So Zadina Carpenter Bailey played 610, 9 to 8 shot attempts, 2 to 6 actual shots, 0 goals, 4 did and gave up a goal, 0.12 to 0.26 expected goals, 3 to 3 scoring chances, 0 to 2 high danger chances, 4-4-4 zone starts. And then Eklund Sturm Cunnin played 551, 9 to 7 shot attempts, 3 to 4 actual shots, 2 to 1 goals for. Thank you, Mr. Eklund. 0.18 to 0.67 expected goals for, 3 to 5 scoring chances, 2 to 2 high danger chances, with 1-1-4 zone starts. So, and then the lines are really mixed up, so we didn't really kind of see where everyone kind of landed there with the middle. As for Corsi 4, for the defenseman, Jan Ruda led the way, 25 shot attempts, 420 allowed, 55.56. Vlasic 21 to 17, 55.26. Mukhamadullin 26 to 22, 54.17. This is at 5v5. And then Ty Emerson, who also made his return, 19:01 minutes played, 5v5, 22 to 23, 48.89. Ahochek 15 to 16, 48.39. And then Burrows 11 to 18, 37.93. Ahochek and Burrows wasn't my favorite games from them. I thought they kind of struggled together. So it'll be interesting to see as guys get healthy and where they kind of how Quinn kind of manages this. And I think Mukhamadullin and Ruda are probably going to be a thing right now. I think because Ruda, veteran guy, knows a little bit of Russian. So I think he's able to kind of communicate with him, just kind of that nice steady presence, right? We saw Ruda play with Thrun. I think just having that kind of steady presence with a guy like Mukhamadullin is good to see right now. Vlasic has played really well so far. I think he's strung together a couple of good weeks of play here. And then Ty Emerson, I really love Ty Emerson's game and want to see him just stay healthy, right? I think he can kind of fill in for the Mario Ferraro slot right now. Not be Mario Ferraro, but I think he can kind of fill in right now while Ferraro is out. And if those guys get back, I think the Sharks have a lot of young, exciting pieces here. They still need that 1D going forward. The Sharks have a lot of young, exciting pieces here going defensively. So, and then our dude Capo Kakinen in all situations. So he made 31 saves on 35 shots, 4 goals against. Expected goals against was 3.6. So right around, where you'd kind of expect. 886 save percentage, 9. So he made 7 high danger saves on 9 high danger shots, 8 mid danger saves on 10 mid danger shots, and then 16 of 16 for the low danger saves there. Capo, again, I think the defense didn't really help him out a lot. I think he kind of, again, he had a lot of pressure up front there, and there's probably one he maybe wants back. But I think overall, it wasn't Capo Kakinen's best game, but it wasn't his worst game. It was a pretty average game from Capo Kakinen. So, I think though kind of what you expect, right? The young players looks good, and the Sharks lose to kind of keep up with the tank standings right now. So, which are right now, Chicago is in the lead just because of point percentage. They've played one more game than San Jose. So San Jose loses these next two, they'll go into the All-Star break with the lead, at least going to All-Star break with a game, or then Chicago will have a game in hand to play. So going forward, but Columbus, we got to keep an eye on Columbus here. The bottom is falling out. And we'll talk about Columbus a little bit tomorrow. So yeah, pretty solid. Again, fun game. Afternoon games at the Tank are really fun. Good times. So shout out to people who came out and said hi, recognized me. It's really weird when people recognize me, but it was a good time. And thank you guys for, again, supporting the show and doing what you guys do because I'm just an idiot with a microphone. So we're going to continue. We're going to dig in onto the Barracudas weekend as they split their series against the Calgary Wranglers. We're going to talk about Eetu Mäkiniemi, who looked really good on Friday night. Bordeleau's return and Danil Gushchin getting knocked out. So I'm going to do all that here in just 1 second. Right now, the Super Bowl is going to be, it's been decided who's going to be playing. We got the Chiefs, we got the Niners. Congratulations, Bay Area. And if you want to celebrate the Super Bowl, you can do it on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. So if you're like me, Super Bowl Sunday is all about scoring the best seat on the couch, grabbing your favorite football snacks, and placing some super bets. There's always so many dumb bets that I really enjoy. I always like, for some reason, I like the Gatorade one because, yeah, like it's such a weird thing to bet on, but it's so much fun. I think you're going to have to go red. Red's got to be a heavy favorite, right, with both teams being a red color. But I also do love in this making prop bets, right? Guys, if they're going to score a touchdown, over, under, all that stuff. And FanDuel's got you covered because you can pick like maybe Christian McCaffrey's going to score a touchdown. Christian McCaffrey's going to score a touchdown because Christian McCaffrey always scores a touchdown. You can bet the over, under on the game. Whatever you want, FanDuel blows it out for the Super Bowl bets. So new customers, join today and you'll get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports partner of the NFL. All right, let's finish up and talk about the Cuda again. Split their weekend series. Shutout. 30 saves shutout from Eetu Mäkiniemi on Friday night. And I think that was one of the best performances we've seen from Mäkiniemi in teal. He's wearing teal. Yep. Because Saturday they were in the pink in the ring. But good to see, right? And especially with Magnus Krona being hurt, Krona kind of taking the reins, but Mäkiniemi has now started to kind of string together a couple good performances, and it puts I'm still a little worrisome, especially if the Sharks trade away either Mackenzie Blackwood or Capo Kakinen, about kind of giving Eetu Mäkiniemi the backup spot right now, just because one, his injury history hasn't been great the past 2 years, and two, he's been very uneven this year, and I hate to send him up there and then he just gets crushed, right? Kind of what we saw from Magnus Krona this year, just kind of let out to the, just kind of fed to the wolves type of situation. So I still think if the Sharks do trade one of those, I wouldn't be surprised if you see Aaron. For some reason, I have this really weird feeling that Aaron Dell is going to be back on the Sharks this season. You can throw a 7th round pick to the Kings and then trade for him and sign him for an NHL deal. I don't know why, I just have this really weird feeling, but I would expect if one of those guys gets traded, the Sharks go out and get a veteran who can kind of come in and hold down the fort. That way you're not asking these guys to kind of to play. But good for Mäkiniemi, right? We want to see him now. Can you continue to string these games together? And maybe he just has the Calgary's number. He's had 2 shutouts this year, and they're both against Calgary. So we'll see how he continues to go. I thought Romanov played pretty well. He's one goal that he really wants back. Again, on the second night when they lost 3-2. But Romanov, though, his confidence had to be like shattered going into this game, and good to see him kind of bounce back, especially after getting pulled the last couple times he'd been playing. But they had no option because Mäkiniemi was, so Krona's out right now. Mäkiniemi was ill, so they had an E-bug backup goalie for this game as they lost 3-2. So other big news coming out was Danil Gushchin was knocked out of Friday's game. He played the first period and then did not return, didn't play on Saturday. Upper body injury. Don't know if he's going to make it for the All-Star game, so we'll kind of keep an eye on that. But if he's out for an extended period of time, it's tough because Gushchin's been playing really well for the Barracuda, and I'm really excited to see him get an extended run on the Sharks because I think he has been the most deserving guy on the Barracuda this year to kind of, especially of the prospects, to kind of get that long-term run and kind of getting himself geared up to be an NHL player next season because Gushchin's good, man. Gushchin's really good. As for Bordeleau, made his return after missing 11 games and comes out and scores a goal. Again, Bordeleau, I think, we just seem to start stringing these games together, and especially if Gushchin's out, this is an opportunity for Bordeleau to kind of take the reins, right? And if you look at that 2020 draft class right now, it's very much Gushchin and then everybody else, right? Robinson's looked better since coming back from his injury. Bordeleau is kind of came in hot, at least beginning of last year and beginning of this year, and then kind of cooled off. And now transitioning from center to wing. Ozzy Weisblatt has been hurt. Brandon Coe has been inconsistent. Like, it's very much Gushchin is going to kind of, if Gushchin pops, I think that it'll change how we feel about this 2020 draft class. But you've been waiting for somebody to pop here. So, but for Bordeleau, right, this is a chance for him to kind of get back into the game with it, especially if Gushchin is out for a while. And I'm curious to see how he continues to play. Very nice goal. Great shot. Had a couple other opportunities too on Saturday night's game. But I like to continue his creativity, right? That creativity, just it's hard. You can't teach that. So I'm hoping he gets can string some games together. That way we can see him on the Sharks this season. So, especially after the trade deadline. So overall, though, I mean, the Cuda are running out of time here to kind of make a push. I think they're 10 points back from a playoff spot right now. They have 2 more games. They play Abbotsford on Friday and Saturday before the All-Star break. And Abbotsford's been really good this year. I think where are they at in the standings? I think they're near the top, if I recall correctly, as I pull it up right now. But Abbotsford's been really good, and I think the Cuda really need to try to steal these games. Abbotsford is 4th right now in the standings, tied for 3rd with 49 points. So yeah, the Cuda really need to try to steal a couple of these games if they want to get back into the playoff conversation. There's basically 30 games left. There's 30 games left for the 31 games left for the Cuda, and they gotta start stringing. You need a long winning streak to kind of put yourself back in the conversation here, and winning 2 against Abbotsford before it would be huge for them to kind of get back into this conversation. So that's going to be it for me today. We'll be back tomorrow to discuss some more trade deadline stuff. So make sure you guys are following wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. You can follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. You can follow me on Twitter at MyFryHole. Until tomorrow, bye, friends.